Hi, all my spooky readers. The camera says that I'm centered, so we're gonna go with it. I am actually going to do two books today because I didn't post anything last week, and I just figured we are getting very close to Halloween, so we might as well just do two books. And it is finally fall weather here, which is very exciting. Listen, I'm a summer girl, and I always will be. But when you get to late October, you expect a certain type of weather, and 80s and 90s is not it. And also, I can finally put my hair down and not be sweating like the old lady that I am. But anyway, I hope everybody's having a great spooky season as we get closer and closer to Halloween. So the first book I want to talk about is by an author I really, really like. It is The Ballad of Black Tom by Victor Lavalle. If you have not read, sorry, I have an itch. Oh my God. If you have not read his book Changeling, definitely check that one out too. It's just a side recommendation, but I really like that book. And also check out the TV series that Apple TV made from that book. It's sometimes a screen adaptation works well, and I think this does. And in particular, there is an episode where the main character's mother, we get her backstory, and it's a brilliant piece of writing. It is brilliantly acted. And essentially she is doing an hour-long monologue. So, but anyway, that's a little sidebar. Check that out. But this book is The Ballad of Black Tom by Victor Lavalle. If you've ever read Lovecraft Country by Matt Ruff, I think you'll like this book. I really, really like Lovecraft Country, and I really enjoyed this book. I am not a Lovecraft fan. I think he was a despicable piece of a human being. I know he was very important to the horror genre. And I think just in terms of his ability to create a story, sure, all right, go ahead, take what you can from that. But his stories were just, full of racism, and clearly was not a wonderful person. What I like about A Ballad of Black Tom, and both, I guess it's gonna be three recommendations, I don't know. But Ballad of Black Tom and Lovecraft Country is that it is Black authors taking stories that were very racist and put Black and brown people in a very particular context. And they're flipping that on its head. And I like when anybody can do that to a story in a genre. The Ballad of Black Tom, I do not remember specifically what Lovecraft story this is taken from. Oh gosh. I mean, like I said, I'm not a Lovecraft fan. I don't really care. And that's honestly not that important to be able to read this book. But it is taken from a Lovecraft, oh my God, what can I say his name? Lovecraft story. But it puts it in the perspective of a Black man. And this definitely has some creepy, in fact, to me, and I'm not gonna give anything away, but one of the creepiest parts wasn't even the in your face kind of scary stuff. There's just this very small part towards the beginning of the book when our main character, Tom, is looking through a window. And I don't know why, but there's a scene that I was like, ooh, I thought that was pretty creepy. But, oh gosh, what do you say to not give too much of the story away? We're in the perspective of a character who, he lives in Harlem with his dad. His dad, has been, is ill, and, basically is not able to work. This is taking place in I believe it's the 20s or 30s. And he meets a very mysterious older white man who invites him to his house for a party. And I'll leave it at that. But if anybody is familiar with any Lovecraft style story, if you have read Lovecraft Country, there are going to be similar vibes. And I just really like that we get the perspective of a person who is providing more context and offering a larger, diverse view of the world. And at the end of the day, I think this was just a good story and well done. And I really enjoy Victor Lavalle. So definitely check that out. And the next one is, I think, oh my God, Be Nice, yes, by Rachel Harrison, who I adore. Okay, I had to pause because I just want to double check that. I've been very productive today, but when I am super productive, I get a little manic. And like, I didn't even have my coffee with me today because I'm doing this later in the day, and it's just like checking those things off the list. So I wanted to double check that I indeed had the title and correct. So yes, it is Plain Nice by Rachel Harrison. I love Rachel Harrison. She is just so good. I don't know. I'm trying to think if I can like distill down like her style of writing. She takes the concept of the kind of like the white girl, kind of in between, anywhere between like 30s and 40s, and just this idea of that white girl who likes to have fun, but might have a little darkness in her life, but can be a little snarky and what have you, and just run with that and do a lot of fun things. She tends to be funny, which I really enjoy. If you like Nat Cassidy, because I know Nat Cassidy has said that he has been inspired by Rachel Harrison. So if you like him, I think you'll like her. But I've read several of her books and always really enjoy them. They're entertaining, they're fun, they're just good characters, and it still is creepy. Creepy AF. This story is kind of taking the gothic romance in a contemporary context, and we have our main character who she is an influencer, and she lives in New York City, grew up in Jersey and Connecticut though, and we first meet her, she's leaving a party, and she gets a phone call from her sisters, and she realizes they've been trying to get a hold of her all night, and so she finally calls one of them back and finds out that her mom has passed. We find out that she and her sisters have been estranged from their mom for a very long time, and we get these little moments of something happened in the past when they were younger, living with their mom after their parents divorced, and she bought this house in Jersey to move into with her girls, and some really creepy, interesting things happen at the house that the mom experiences and later writes a book on this. However, people think that the mom is, off her rocker, and it had nothing to do with a supernatural element, and she was just, a mentally disturbed person. And her daughters, in fact, they believe with this assessment as well. They're like, nothing happened in that house that was supernatural. We just had, abusive parent who was dealing with a lot of, mental instability. But the sisters are not going to go to the funeral, but the youngest sister, who is our main character, decides to go. And the girls are given this house that their mom had bought that allegedly was haunted. And the youngest sister decides, you know what, I'm going to take this house, I'm going to renovate it, I'm going to flip it, I'm going to make some money. She's an influencer, so this is kind of in the vein of what she would do anyway. And as she begins to kind of do that with the house, we kind of get some interesting things that happen. And we, kind of get into more of the backstory with the mom, but also our main characters, because she's very young when this all was initially happening. And so I will leave it there, but I just really enjoy her books. The main character is not a character I necessarily identify with. Like, this is not someone who I have a similar personality to, or similar interest, or similar way of living their life. And yet she's just like a good character because she's so realistic. She's funny, she's smart. Well, I guess I do relate to that. Just being a little sarcastic and bitchy at times. But just, I don't know, I love when a person can just do so well the characterization, but then also have a strong plot. And I just feel that Rachel Harrison excels in this area. So if you're looking for a haunted house story that definitely has creep to it, please check this one out. And really anything by Rachel Harrison. But I really enjoyed Play Nice by Rachel Harrison. So there we go, technically three, I guess, book recommendations for today. Definitely check them out. Let me know what you're reading, and I hope everybody is enjoying their spooky season. I hope this weather stays here where I'm at, because now it definitely is putting me into all the fall vibes. So I love everybody. I hope you're having a safe and wonderful spooky season.